Come to order at 5 p.m. Let's introduce ourselves.
Scott Morley, Select Board.
Carrie Keeman, Select Board.
Dan Webster, Select Board.
Matt Maxwell, Town Administrator.
Idris Samuel, Planning Commission.
Chris Roy, news correspondent and Coventry resident.
And we also have David Barlow, the Town Treasurer.
Oh, our camera's not on.
Got no picture.
What's going on here?
There we go.
Yeah, that's after. One wants to be moderator and one wants to be school treasurer.
We doing
One
any
wants to be the
changes
people
or
in the
additions
report.
to the agenda tonight?
Not me.
Very nice.
Nope.
Any public comment out there? All right. Moving right into it. Then. Town garage addition. So you had a proposal from Scott Partners Architectural Firm at the last meeting. We did not make a decision, or we have not received any other architectural proposals on this building yet. So, nobody has to make any kind of decision tonight, but.
I mean, it's really just to get it into the town report and
Yep.
for more discussion, and then people will know what the cost might be
Yep.
and whether or not they'll, because we don't have to sign anything with these people anyway.
I don't think so, but I think if we wait until March, then the numbers.
Gonna
that's
change.
the only thing.
Yep.
But I don't think that they care about that, you know, whenever we decide to.
Mhm.
Give them the business, I think they'd be happy to take it.
Yeah, yep.
We're not, I mean, we're not gonna decide that till town meeting. Or,
No, you're basically deciding whether you want it to be at town meeting.
It was asked for, so you
It
can say
was,
this was
right.
the only proposal we've received back. And if we get more, you could always just print them and have them there.
That's true, yep, if something comes in between now and then, I can do that, I mean, we're not married to this proposal. But we are, the book is gonna go to print in 2 weeks.
2 weeks from today. Well, that's a good point. I mean, that was the direction we got to do a better job. And that's kind of why, right? These are the things that we're gonna see and find out. So that's a good point. I was ready to say, let's just not do this because it scares me, the
Yeah.
price.
Mhm. But it's what they asked for, and this is what we can show them, and maybe there'll be a long discussion, I'm sure, and they may say, okay, if you get other proposals and, up to X amount of dollars or something, kind of like we do with landscaping, or spend up to X amount of dollars. Or it hits the drawing board for next year, the next town meeting.
I kind of like that. So we don't have blueprints to show,
No, because these people want money before they give us
right?
blueprints.
So we don't have the blueprints,
Right.
and therefore we don't have the cost of the building. What we do have is the cost of the engineering scope.
No, I believe they gave us an estimate for the cost of the bill, or, he could give us an estimate for the cost of the
Square
building.
footage price.
And we can get the blueprints between now and March. I mean, I don't think that would be a big problem.
So how would we wordsmith this it would be a standalone article?
Yep.
But it wouldn't be. Well, it would be a what? We wouldn't be asking for the town to. How would we do that? What do you?
I think they're gonna need a number, kind of like, it was millions.
Yeah,
you know?
because
Yeah,
because I had asked him, it's in the minutes, I had asked him, and it was between,
Something so much.
1.2 to 1 point something million.
For the building itself,
yeah,
and then there's his.
Yeah,
cost,
1.2
their
to
cost.
1.4 for the construction. And then their cost,
190.
yep, 190.
Good memory.
I would think that people would be okay if we had a ballpark number with, I mean, I don't know what it's gonna cost to get the blueprints, just to get the.
Oh,
blueprints.
probably,
So
yeah.
I think that'd be crazy, just.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure the-
That's a component of that.
Right, it's a component of what they would provide, the services they would provide.
Well, it depends on what it costs, but it seems like if we told them we have this going, it's not just this, you know, this is an idea.
And it says.
And we can tell them kind of what
It's
we're
a
thinking.
60 by 60.
Yep.
Garage will be approximately 60 by 60 with a gable roof, the same height as the existing garage. Radiant heat. So, I mean, we've got a lot of it there. Right now, the estimate would be 1.4 plus 189,000 or 1 point estimated at X to Y.
I wonder if we could work it, Matt, like what we did with the station road. We didn't know the number of that either. But we had a road failure
Mhm.
and we thought we'd get most of the money back, but there were ever any guarantees.
Mhm.
And so we said, do you want us to proceed with this project? Right, and that's what we did
Yep.
with that, and so somehow we could do that with this and not, that doesn't mean, you know, March 16th, we're signing contracts. But we could ask them, because we just went from a year ago, putting a proposal in front of them for $350,000.
Mhm.
My
Yeah.
memory
Yeah.
is right-ish, to more than $1 million, more than that.
Right,
And they asked us, go do more work. So we've gone and done more work and we've discovered that with the rules of the land on such a building project, you're looking at a ballpark of this amount of money.
Mhm. And I think some of the people in that room last year probably knew that.
Yeah,
And
probably.
realized
Yeah, that may- yeah.
we were, yeah.
Only getting a new slab to
Yeah.
park on.
Yeah, exactly. And so maybe we do that and we springboard from that,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
the conversation could evolve from that, right? On the
Yep.
floor.
Yep.
And somebody could say, you know, let's approve them up to so much money. If they could get it done between now and next time, I mean, I don't know,
Right.
whatever the conversation is, but not have I don't think we should be asking for a vote right out front on this one.
Right.
I think they
No,
should
that's
help
good.
us build that on the floor.
How do you want to proceed?
And
Yep.
and there's pros and cons to it, but there's probably more pros than cons, really.
Mhm.
When you start looking at the other towns, the neighboring towns that are doing this, we do need more space.
Yep.
It's not gonna get cheaper.
Nope.
I suspect we're probably going to end up doing it,
I do too.
but I think the process is important.
Yep.
If anything.
Yeah.
Involve the folks in the conversation, get guidance. Cause that's a lot. I mean, we're not gonna have enough leftover money in our, right, like we normally do on our projects. That's gonna be reaching into reserve, that's gonna be reaching into
Yep.
invested funds.
Yep.
You almost said that R word.
Yeah.
How much is the price tag to build it, did you say?
Well, we don't know exactly, but I think it's about 1.5 million. It is the best guess I have, maybe more. It wouldn't be less than that. Yeah. Okay, so can you figure that wording out
Yes.
and take care of that for us?
Yep.
Thank you,
Okay, the next thing
Um,
is,
thank you.
One clarification, Scott.
Yep.
You know what I'm gonna ask? Same thing I always ask. I
Oh,
mean, obviously, it's still not gonna come out of taxpayer money.
so if, yeah, we would have to figure out exactly where and how to spend that, expend that money. We'd have to get David involved in that, and whenever, and when that money would be expended. We have extra funds always. We have special funds, reserve funds, and we have invested funds. So that, so it would probably be a mix and match. To draw that down, but it wouldn't have any impact on anybody's taxes.
Right, Dave, obviously for, clarification note purposes is, Dave Barlow, the treasurer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so on the MERP grant, we got one proposal that came in. And you should have that in your packet.
Yep. Yep, right there.
This is a company that would,
Good.
A lot of
get all the
foreign
contractors
language to
for
me,
us
but.
and
But yeah, no,
pretty much oversee everything, so it'd be, minimal involvement. from us.
basically taking everything from that report and,
Yeah. And it's,
And it's-
their fee is included in our grant amount. So it's not like we're paying, we'd be paying them more.
on top of,
On top of that, it's included right in there, they know exactly what we got for a grant,
cause what was our grant, 430,
420 something thousand, I
20
think,
something,
something like that.
So that's our budget, that's the budget of this, and then, so obviously theirs would be the,
And there's some frequently asked questions that are included with that, there's a little packet of that.
oh, this one here. Who is Summit Crest Consulting?
so what are your instincts on it, Matt?
I'm in favor of it. I actually met with, someone from the state of Vermont Building and General Services Department today, and they're well aware of this company. They're doing a bunch of towns. They set themselves up to be ready for this to come out, and they say that, they will get all the right contractors, like they'll use Dubois and King for some stuff, because in Dubois and King, they did all the assessments and they know what they're doing here. He said, these people will hire Dubois and King, they'll do all the Dubois and King stuff, they'll get all, and they'll get the right people to do the right stuff, and it'll be a good job for us.
And they can start right off too,
And they can
February
start
1st.
right off, that's the other thing with this, is we've got about 2 years, a little less than 2 years to get this done, so.
They anticipate
This-
having it done within the calendar year.
They would have it done by September,
All the projects.
all 3 buildings.
So this project proposal, so this isn't all inclusive of that work that we got from Dubois and King. All of those projects in there aren't here.
Good share of them.
A good,
Yeah, most of them are, yeah,
most of them are here.
yeah.
The energy efficiency, the
Are the furnaces
the
here?
furnaces on all
Yeah.
of them. HVAC modernization.
Is it replacing them or is it making them more efficient?
Community center is
You
replacement.
know what the renewable energy
Replacement.
integration is?
Was
Is it like just, is that solar panels?
Replacement.
So,
Solar array and battery backup.
On the town garages?
yep,
EV charger out front.
Does anyone know about solar panels?
I have some,
I haven't too, I still don't know anything about
me neither. I just know it's my
them. I don't really like them
co-op.
on my house.
Huh? Oh, mine are not on my house. Mine are on ground stands.
Can we push this to the next meeting? I haven't read it. I think there's a lot there. I don't want to sleep on it. I think it's a no-brainer we do it. I think it seems like they're the right people to have do it. I just wanna get inside of what it is.
What happens with the money? Maybe we talked about this, that's if we don't spend all the money. You know what happens with the money?
Cause I think, is this all we put in, they don't just give us 400,000, it's
Yeah, it's
reimbursable.
So
So you get what you
We're
spend.
gonna get back when we submit for invoices.
And is there a percentage that we pay? Or is it 100%? It's 100%, so it's a no-brainer.
To me, it is.
One of the things I'm always cautious about on projects like that is if we build something that then has maintenance to it. Or future problems that we may or may not want to entertain. It seems like a good idea today and we're getting it installed, like a solar
Just
panel
what I was
array
saying.
or other things. And then the town gets the responsibility of its maintenance and potential issues.
Of course, a lot of that stuff's all got warranties for however many years.
Yeah,
Like the furnace, I don't know if it's 5-year or 30-year. And
Yeah,
the
that's
same
a
thing with
no-brainer.
the,
Yeah, I think most of it, I just want to understand it more because right now I don't. So what is this? Is this the other part of it?
that's the garage. This is the frequently asked
Yeah.
questions. To go with the proposal.
We're not bound by a time limit here.
Nope,
Is next meeting,
no.
is that okay for everybody? I mean, it's,
Yeah, that's,
you wanna read up on that more too? Dan,
yeah.
I'm feeling,
Was there any other information on like? Replacing the oil fired furnace with a propane fired burner? Was there, I mean, there's big differences
Nope, there was no.
in them.
Where were they looking at putting the propane boiler?
The town garage and the other town garage and
And
maybe here too,
A
right?
backup one here.
So what does this building use now?
Oil, right?
oil.
Oil.
Are you looking at using propane as a,
What's that?
you're looking at using propane as a.
I think that's what I'm not exactly sure what they, I mean, it's something new, something better, more efficient.
Whole building heat pump system
Okay.
and a propane burner as backup for extreme cold conditions.
You know what your light bill's gonna do?
My what bill?
Electric bill,
Gonna go up?
The heat pump?
huge. Yeah, huge, just, I'd sort of say there's a lot of moving parts to this and
We're
I'm
gonna
not,
have- We're gonna have the solar to offset all that.
yeah. So
We're
let's-
gonna be making money.
Let's give us all another 2 weeks to digest it and come back and have a little bit
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Conversation on it.
Do you have numbers? You said the elect bill is gonna go up. But is using less energy from the other system gonna compensate?
So that's a very tricky question. It depends on your electric rate, depends on your electric company, it depends on what it is that you're offsetting, and it depends on the building. They're all different. I know that, a lot of people in the last few years that I've seen, many of them that went to those systems in their houses, the cost of the electricity was more than what they were spending in fuel oil prior to. And the heat's not the same, it's just a different, so it's not good or bad, and I understand the reasons for it, I'm just,
And the heat pump's cool too.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit in the summer.
and an expensive one. So there's things to think about.
Yeah.
But I know the from Dubois and King, that all came through with like. They recommended the heat pumps
They did, yes.
versus like an
specific
oil
ones,
burner
yeah.
or a kerosene burner.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, a lot of research went into
Mhm.
this project, those things, so.
All right, so let's just give us 2 weeks
Yep.
until we know what we're talking about for town meeting, and
Yeah.
I mean, that'll be a big one, that's a lot of money.
May I have a copy of that?
Right here.
Okay, next up
You're welcome.
is a new ton truck for the road department. Nathan Standish, the road foreman, got a couple quotes for a ton truck to replace the one he's currently driving around in. this was deemed by Nathan as the most important piece of equipment that he needs next.
You read
What
those?
Mhm.
Did you look through those?
I talked with Matt about it the other day, and I have talked with Nathan about it in the past. I feel like the Grinch tonight.
Yeah, they're in color room.
I do. So how much is that? What are the 225?
Oh, they're in the 250
250.
range. One of them's about $15,000 less.
250 and 234.
They're both very good trucks.
And they're apples to apples, a
Yeah,
lot
I
of the
mean,
stuff.
everything that one of them has, the other one's got. I mean, it's
I think a big part is the warranty. You know, one might be a whole lot better than the other.
right.
Are we trading anything? Paid for, we shouldn't.
I don't think so. I think we
Either sell it outright
will
or
keep it as
a
or
backup.
whatever, you know.
So here's where I got in all of this. We've talked about for a couple years now, our capital equipment. And our depreciation schedules and all of the heavy equipment and big machinery that we have, and we need to have a better plan on, you know, not just what we have, we know what we have, but what is the best plan for replacement of all those things? How do we replace the items themselves at the best trade point? One, financially, so that you're getting the best bang for your buck. Two, you're not doing downtime and repair costs. Three, you're looking at all your equipment and spreading that stuff out, so we're not doing, building garages and spending $250,000 on a truck on the same year, right? So we don't have that done yet. So, that's my biggest concern. I don't think there's much doubt that we probably need that truck. We've got one ordered now.
Yeah, a big one, not one.
Right.
Big, yeah.
So, but we haven't spent that money
We
yet.
have not spent that money.
So
yet.
we've already got
It
one that's,
is-
how much is that one
I'll tell you,
that we got on order?
$259,450.
Right. So you've already got $250,000 out that we've been approved to spend. So I think there's a limit for that I'm willing to raise my hand for in the span of 1 year or 2 years to spend on the road department. I think we have to, and I want to hear what you guys disagree with me here when you need to, but I want to see that plan. I think we need to, this Matt and I talked about a little bit the other day, I think we need to find a professional in the world. There's somebody who can do everything in the world. We need to find that person to sit down with us, and if we got to pay them money and do that for us. That maybe they're at John Deere, maybe they're at Milton Cat, maybe they're at Freightliner. There's somebody in the world that can do that will sit down with us, look at our machinery, inspect it, look at the hours, look at what it is, and tell us what its value is today, tell us when the best price point is for us to trade it. And so we can make the master plan for all of this equipment, so it's not just every year knee-jerk reaction to something. We have a 10-year plan, it's a recycling plan. So we're not, all our trucks aren't aging out at the same time. And then, to just keep going to the voters to say, we're spending for a lot of money. And I get it. You raising your hand?
No. I was agreeing with you.
I thought you-
No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, you're the highest spending select board in the history of select boards.
Yeah. We are. And
That's a
so,
quote.
yeah. And so for that reason, it's like, and that's to replace the 550.
The one that Nathan drives currently, the smaller, you know.
The red F-550.
Yeah, with the small, you know, he does the small streets that the other vehicles can't
Yeah.
get into. Yeah. And he does the village with it and salt, he's got salt in the back of it, I think. I mean, he's had the truck for a while, it's got a lot of hours on it, you know,
It does. But it's used a lot less now too,
it is.
because we bought the pickup
We bought the pickup,
and we've got a new truck coming.
that is true.
So it is, I mean,
Has he had any trouble with it?
He's put some money into it in the last year, I'm gonna say probably between $5,000 and $8,000.
yeah. We just had something done with the brakes or
He did
something the other
brakes,
day.
yeah, and a couple other smaller things over the summer, so he, you know.
They do it. Do they do it?
No, he sends it to Pepin's or something like that.
Say no, just
St.
done
Ange,
some
yeah,
stuff.
St. Ange worked on it a little bit because he couldn't get it in where he usually does, and Dave was able to do it.
So I know we talked about it. Did you think that through? Do you think I'm crazy? Did you make any phone calls?
I didn't make any phone calls, no, but I do not think you're crazy. I think you're right. But we do need, I mean, especially if we're gonna, if we're gonna keep
Yeah,
if we're gonna keep buying stuff, we gotta have a depreciation schedule.
I mean, I just don't think we're equipped enough to make those decisions. We're not the best. We're just not the guy. You know, and I think making these $250,000 decisions, $1 million decisions over and over and over, you know, are we making the best decisions that we can? What do we have to base that from? You know, it's like this, that we're, you know, going 2 more weeks on, right? You have something there. You have professionals who do that for a living, giving us things in writing, saying this is what we recommend you do, and here's how you do it, and here's who we'll hire to do it. And then we get an opportunity to say yes or no, or make adjustments, but the creation of it comes to you professionally. And it's not like we're buying cars here, we're buying heavy equipment.
Yep.
And so I think I'm feeling more and more uncomfortable continuing to throw those sorts of requests in front of the voters. And I think we should slow it down, force ourselves to professionalize, and give you more work to do. But potentially it's less work, right? If we get.
I just crossed an article off for town meeting.
I mean, if we get somebody that can come here to do that, and I'm sure Milton Cat would do that, or John Deere, or
I'm sure
Case, or somebody.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys just want to say, you could make a motion to say, you know, we want you to find somebody to do that.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion to do it, we just tell you to do
Yeah,
it.
just say, yeah, hire somebody to.
So if we go that route, right, it's not going on town meeting this year.
No.
So we would have to almost deny the request, essentially. And I think the request is legitimate, that he does have a truck that's aging out that needs, but it's not gonna go to the scrapyard tomorrow if we don't do it.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes you just have to be willing to take a step back and say, let's do this right. And let's make a better plan for whoever sits here after us, so that they have a plan and they don't have to recreate it themselves all the time either.
Yeah.
And it's just a living document, but so make some calls, Matt, it's probably gonna need a couple different people. You're probably gonna get a truck person.
Yep.
In one of those bigger Freightliner, or down in Jericho, is that where Freightliner is now?
One of those places that you're.
Yeah, you know, whoever it is, and have that discussion. You know, could somebody come up to our town, inspect our vehicle, our trucks, our heavy trucks, tell us current value, current assessment, and what the plan, what they would recommend a trade plan to be.
Mhm.
Whether it's, this year, 5 years, whatever, they'd have to talk to Nathan, what's the usage of these trucks, how often, what's the mileage you're putting on, they gotta know all that stuff, they gotta be here to do that.
Mhm.
And probably Cat or. Who do we buy the backhoe from?
Case.
That was Case,
Case, yeah.
so one of those companies that knows heavy equipment, we got a loader. We got a backhoe, we got a grader,
Got a little tractor over here.
and we got a tractor, right? So that we got currently with those pieces of heavy equipment that all would probably, somebody can do that on that, and then we can build that plan.
Good.
So. I don't know that that doesn't have to be done for the next meeting. You're busy with everything, but I mean, I think it shouldn't just be put on the back
Nope.
shelf either.
Nope.
We need to get this
Take care
done.
of it.
You guys okay with that? I mean, does that make
It's
sense?
a very good
That
plan.
makes me more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah,
May I have a copy of that?
There's nothing on it other than what you just heard.
I know, but I'd like to see the figures in front of me.
oh, we have his truck figures, we have the truck.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
What
like
the,
that.
Yeah, these two quotes.
I'm sorry.
Welcome.
Okay, ethics and conflicts of interests.
Can I go back to that one for 1 second? Equipment.
I'm thinking, I sit here and it's like, yeah, I know equipment, and then with me, it's like. These things are gonna break down. And it's almost like. All right, there's a chance it's gonna break down, let's trade it in. So. And it's just the difference between the town and a farm. And because we need stuff to go,
Oh, I run equipment.
it has to go every
I
day.
can't possibly do anything anymore, and
And-
then I still try to fix it.
And I can tell you that we do it the cheapest way.
Yeah.
And we use them every day. So it's hard to just be like, "Ah, it's gonna break down. Let's trade it in." But they're not gonna stay up till midnight fixing something so they can keep on the field. It's just not practical.
Right.
So I'm just struggling with those two. I'd like to.
Caught in the middle.
Yeah. And some of the stuff, I think, like the tractor, man, what, that thing can go for a long time. If someone comes here and tells us, well, if you trade it in, especially if they're from Kubota, or, they're gonna want us to trade it in. But that thing is gonna go for a long time, as long as it works for us. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to go back, because what I'd like to say is, can you do this with us? Can you do
yeah,
this
I'd be
for us?
happy to,
Can-
and I
can
think I
you-
just need a,
Can you and Matt, you be the point on that
Yeah,
for us.
I'd be
and-
happy to, yeah.
And help facilitate all that with the road foreman.
Yeah.
So you three, like, be present.
Yeah.
When they come up, I'd like that, because it makes the most sense to me. You work with this stuff, that good for you, Matt? Yeah, you like that, yeah.
That works for me.
Okay, so then the three of you can, meet with these
Yeah.
people and go to the garage with them and have that discussion.
Yeah.
Offline and help figure that out.
Yeah.
Watch the money.
So
yeah.
is there nobody, do you have anybody on town that's a mechanic that works on the equipment, or do you have to send it out?
The fellows that we have working do a lot of the mechanic work. But there's a lot of mechanic work that they don't do because they don't have the expertise for it. This new equipment is, they change oil, they do brakes, they do tires, they do the general mechanic stuff. But when you start talking about computers and
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff is on recall, or, there's bigger things in this equipment today that's above their skill.
Backyard mechanics aren't so much a thing anymore.
Yeah, and they do a lot for us. I mean,
Mhm.
they do a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want,
Okay.
Yeah.
Just asking.
yeah. All right, so thank you.
Yeah,
I think that's a good
Yeah,
step.
thanks for going back. I was thinking it and I was just.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, good. Wasn't so
Okay.
Scroogey.
No,
Ethics and conflicts of interest. The state of Vermont has got a new directive for the towns need to follow as far as their ethics and conflict of interest policies. And this is gonna require some training that has to be completed by September 30th, 2025. By that date, the approved ethics training has to be completed by the town or city manager administrator, the legislative body, the BCA, the Board of Abatement, and the Justice of the Peace. So, just an informational thing. They haven't sent out when any of the trainings are gonna be, but anybody that's sitting at that table or me or some of the other tables, basically anybody that's gonna make a decision for the town is as far as like has to complete this training. So
So it's an online training?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
okay.
they haven't sent out any, the only thing they sent out is they said that it has to be, everybody has to do it by September 30th. They haven't said the dates or where, when it's gonna be. I'm assuming it's gonna be something.
Maybe both?
Yeah, they'll probably have an in-person one and then something we can do online, but
or maybe zoom into the in-person one.
nothing, I mean, just just an information piece, because this, whatever they passed in June became law January 1st. So now they're.
Okay, so it's statewide, it's not anything we're
Statewide,
out of line with, it's
No,
just
no.
coming around, and so we're on it.
You're on it.
All right,
Yep,
so feed us the information as it comes
Yep.
and,
yep, and I'll coordinate with Deb about the Justice of the Peace and the BCA, and that's all her Board of Abatement.
okay.
So legislature decided to do that?
What's that?
So the legislature decided to do that?
The yeah, they passed something, I can't remember the exact, what it was.
Right.
I don't know, something in June.
It had to do with like the town meeting law.
Yeah, it was part of that, yeah, it was part of the town, yeah, all those meeting laws, so now there's, instead of, like, a lot of towns have their own ethics and conflict of interest policies. Now it's just, it's gonna be a statewide thing for that every town's gonna follow.
So yeah, you have to go for training, did I hear?
Well, yeah, you have to complete certain people in the town have to complete the training, and I don't think it's gonna be crazy. but-
It'll be online.
Does the training cost anything?
No,
Every
they'll
new
provide-
people come
they'll
on,
provide that
so.
for free.
Yeah.
Who's that, the state? Who's that state?
Yeah, state board, yep. Okay, Dave Barlow, you're up. Treasurer's report.
Here we are. So I invite your attention to the treasurer's report. Hopefully, I think there's copies in front of you. If not, I can put it up on the screen if Matt wants to give me sharing, but that's not necessary, I don't think, unless you don't have it.
We got it.
Okay, so November is in fact the busiest month for the treasurer because that's when taxes are due. And all that money's coming in, destined for the education department. However, thankfully, it's not a very busy month otherwise. So looking at the report, just a reminder, this is kind of the new format because all of the bank accounts have been combined down into one. So all of the cash sits in either the CNB checking account or at our Fidelity Cash Management account. And that's at the top of the report. Shows you where all the cash, shows you the cash total. That's at the end of November. So that number reflects the roughly 2.1 million that we collected in education taxes. And that 2.1 million has since been written in a nice big check that you approved and is off to the school, and the school has in fact deposited it. So yeah, the December report will look a little different in terms of numbers. Moving on down to fund balances. I've got a little note on the general fund that our auditor did some what they call adjusting journal entries on fiscal year 24 that changed the starting balance of the general fund for fiscal year 25. So if you were to compare this report with the October report, the numbers would not exactly line up because of that change. And that's why I've noted that down the bottom. The bulk of the change that they made had to do with zeroing out the balance, the negative balance that was in the solid waste fund. And that's down a little further under restricted fund balances. And if you recall from previous reports, that featured a large red number if you had it in color. It's good to see that gone through the magic of the auditors adjusting journal entries. Other than that, the general fund, the big expense that had happened in November was the check off to the CF Coventry Town Foundation, CTF, 250,000. And the other major expense that happened was payment for some of the Coventry Station Road work. It accounts for the bulk of that nearly 316,000 that went out of the general fund in November. Moving on down to ARPA. At the end of November, we hadn't yet gotten rid of that final 7,500, but you have since done that. So the December report will reflect the ARPA fund as zero balance, and then the January report won't even show it anymore because it'll be gone. As we move down under the restricted fund balances, there's really nothing to see there. There was a small legal bill that fell into the reappraisal fund from the final settlement with Casella. Other than that, then nothing happened. And then in the land of investment, again, normal month. Nothing really happened there either. Upcoming in December, you'll see that I did in fact send off our budgeted contribution to our town investment fund, and that'll turn up in the December report. And you'll see that in the upcoming budget topic, which is the next one up. So that's my segue. If there are no questions, I'll turn it back to Matt.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, Dave.
You have a magnifying glass?
We had some printing issues today. Dave and I kind of did the best we could with that.
Changing glasses.
I knew it was gonna be kind of a problem. We couldn't really make it look any better than that.
So this is all of it, Matt. You got it all on you.
This is the general fund and the highway fund.
Okay. So there's not a lot of need to go through every single line here.
There's not, but we gotta go through a couple here, because Dave and I have a couple questions
All right,
that
good.
we need some clarification on.
Yep. So let's start with that.
Okay. And the first one I had was gonna be on what we pay to an investment advisor. We decide, we end up making a change there once a year. If we wanted to budget more money in that spot.
Give me the page and line.
It's under administration on the second page, investment advisor.
It's like just 2 or 3 lines under administration.
Okay, yeah, so we've had that discussion in the past.
Right.
And my stance was and then and probably always will be, that shouldn't be a budget line. That should come directly out of the funds.
Okay.
I thought we had made that decision a year ago.
We do somebody else, we will, right? I mean, I don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's all I was wondering about.
So I mean, I know we talked about that. Did we not dot the I on that discussion a year ago?
I don't think so. And we talked about it, but I don't think you ever made
You agreed to pay that fee out of the investment account directly, and that's what's happening.
So there,
So
that's why it's a zero there.
so that answers your question.
Yep,
Yeah, so that's happening now, David, right?
So I'm told. I have yet to see I have yet to see it happen, but I have discussed it with with John Henry, and he assures me that it is going to happen. So okay, great. That's why it's a zero line, it's a zero number in the budget. My intent would be not to have it show up in front of the town for a vote, just because it's
Right,
overcome by events.
yep, okay. So do you guys know, you're all good with that?
I got it.
Yeah, so the current advisor, we were paying out
Yeah.
of general funds to do the work, and that's just seemingly odd for most of us with other investments. Your investment advisor just takes.
Yeah,
okay, and then if you look on.
If I could just shortstop that for just a second. And the reason they like to do that is it typically disguises the fee. It reduces the visibility that you're being charged. So I do caution that somehow we do need to have that number in the town report. It can be in my section, it can be somewhere else, but yeah, it's not a budget item anymore, but it does need to be published. Over.
just to show what we're actually spending on it. Otherwise,
Correct. Otherwise,
nobody sees.
it vanishes into the 40-page documents that I put in the end of my treasurer's report, right? So,
Yeah, that whole discussion will become alive again through this process of review. On how we are receiving the statements, how we're reviewing those statements as a group. And that'll be part of that statement, so we'll see that. So how do we make that public or not public? Obviously, it would be public.
Yeah.
Would be easy. Yep.
Okay, and then if you look under on page 3, about halfway down, emergency services, the very first line on there, Newport City Fire Department. We still haven't received their bill for the fire services for calendar year 2024. So that number is just a number that me and Dave put in there. It's high. It's not going to be. They're not going to send us a bill for 35 grand this year, but we just wanted to make sure that we didn't go too low. So. We put that number in there, they pay on a 3-year rolling average. So we could sort of figure out what it's gonna be near. It's not gonna be nearly that high, but that's just something we needed to have a placeholder there. So that's why there. And then Dave, what was our question on this Coventry Foundation appropriation line?
yeah, it's both the foundation, it's all the appropriations.
Yeah,
Do we put that in the budget? Do we fill in the blank and put it in the budget, making it look like it's pre-approved? Or do we leave it at 0 and let the people vote on it and then fill it in? And normally in the past, we've left it at 0. And once they vote stuff in, then I adjust the budget. But the problem with that is then you don't, with a very large appropriation like Coventry Town Foundation, 250,000, really impacts what else you can do on the budget. So if you plug it in from the get-go, kind of throwing in the white flag on it, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a political question. It's not really a treasurer or budgeting question.
you understand what we're asking here?
Can you do that again?
So I know what the number of the appropriations number is this year. Like I've gotten all the appropriation requests. I know exactly what that number is, but normally Dave keeps it at 0 until after they've voted on them at town meeting. Same with the Coventry Town Foundation number. We know that number is 250,000, but it hasn't been approved yet. So normally he keeps it at 0. So we're just asking, do you want us to put the real numbers in there right now so we can, or do you want us to wait? Leave it at 0.
So it shows us budgeting it,
Right.
but it also is kind of like Dave is saying,
No.
I say no.
No.
I say there's a reason that we made it its own line item.
Okay,
It's just like a truck, it's just like a building.
same with the other appropriations too, or are you just talking about the foundation?
Well, let's just talk about the foundation
Okay.
first. That's not supposed to be an every year thing. We're going back and forth. I was very unhappy with Leo's presentation. I'm sure everybody's aware because my firm feeling and with the knowledge of the conversations we've had over the last year and from a town meeting last year, that is not what we were told to do. That's not what we agreed to do. And that's gonna be talked about in town meeting again this year. Now, whatever, anybody can ask for anything that they want and good for anybody for asking. And it's up to the townsfolk to make a decision on whether they wanna do that or not. But to build in the ready-made appearance of $250,000 appropriation line is not a good idea. I would say that's ill-advised. I would treat it just like a major purchase outside the normal operations. So if the town votes for the appropriation, we get an opportunity to ask them where they would like to spend it from. You see what I'm saying?
Yep, so you'd like to leave that zero.
Leave
I
it,
think so too.
Yes,
leave
leave
it
that
zero,
zero.
and then we have that conversation at the town meeting, you know, how do you wanna pay for it?
You want me to do the same with the,
I'd say all the little
Well,
ones should be the same
appropriations
too.
I don't know the history on that one, it's only, what is it, how much is the?
well, he put 25,000 in there. I know the exact number. Like I have all the appropriations that we're gonna receive this year.
I'd say
they just-
they should
they
all be
haven't-
zero.
They don't get approved until town meeting, but
Mm-hmm.
they're an article.
25,000 doesn't seem. Oh, that's because you got Orleans County tax in there.
What, the 25,000? That's just a made up number. That's not.
Oh, yeah.
We just made it.
Yeah, cause I mean, it's not much.
Well, it'll be around 25. It'll be right around 25,000. I mean, look, last year was 24,092 or whatever.
And if people ask for a little more this year,
Some people did. So it's, it's gonna be right around that.
should be treated the same, regardless of the
It's
cost.
an appropriation,
It's an appropriation, it's not approved.
so we can leave that one zero also.
Well, I mean, there's decades of history on that, right? It's an
There's
annual,
decades of history.
it's an
but-
annual issue.
Right, but they could also, I mean, there could be one in there that they don't like, and they say, hey, we wanna kick this one out and keep the other 13 or whatever, I mean.
But it's $500, $1,000, and then it's to your advantage for your budgeting. If they remove them,
Right. It's to your advantage. So I mean, we can put that. Number.
see what I'm saying?
No,
He's saying if we put in 25,000 and then the town decides, hey, we don't wanna give Orleans Library their $1,000, so you're down to 24,000,
That you're
So
gonna
what's the difference?
expend, but your overall budget,
so why
It's a
not
line
leave
by
the
line.
250 in if it gets negotiated to 200,000 or 300,000? It's the same thing. But it's a much bigger number.
because it's precedent setting.
Mhm.
You're beginning to view, if you start doing that in your budgeting, you're
Mhm.
beginning to view that as an operational expense. That's what this is.
Mhm.
This is an operational expense piece. So I'd rather, if that's our theory, take all of them out.
Well, that's it. Their appropriations are not approved. Though neither are approved. The 25,000 is not approved and the 250 is not approved. So why put one and not the other?
If it's vote A or vote B, I'd vote, take them all out. It's only a unique conversation that they're bringing up today because of the Coventry Town Foundation. The appropriations are always there. You're always gonna get the Old Stonehouse Museum and the libraries and they're going to get the money. They're very conservative amounts. The foundation isn't an every year thing, and that's a huge amount of money. Huge, and it's not, if you're looking at percentages on how that impacts your budget, it's a real big chunk of a budget.
Mhm.
Whereas those, others at 2024 is nominal, and it is gonna get approved. you're going to get that approved, you know, within a few $100s. It's always been that way.
I thought if one got denied, they all got denied,
But
all the appropriations.
No, you can do them.
Those
you can
10.
do them individually.
Well, I see, I thought they got all
No,
lumped together and you had to,
We do them
usually
one by
do
one,
them-
right?
Usually do them as law, but we give.
yeah,
right.
a little bit of.
and
yeah.
then some folks might amend and try to, you know, do
Yeah,
an extra
you can-
$100
you can
here,
change the
$100 there.
amounts,
It's
you can
pennies.
kick
It
some
doesn't
out.
impact any of your budgets. When you're talking about $250,000.
I mean,
That's
there's always a
impacted.
moderator when you do stuff like that. You can do it.
Either way is fine.
I hear both sides.
Mhm. Dave, what do you want to do?
Set them both to 0.
Yeah, if I had to choose between, you know, that's what I would do. Is set them both to 0, but the trouble with doing that one, Dave, just on the regular appropriations. If we set them to 0. Then. And they approve the 24,000, then you're $24,000 in the hole. On your budget.
Correct. And the
So that's why
250K as well. And you'll see a little bit later on how we can show that. But yeah, the bottom line is it has to come from somewhere.
Well, I know. So it's an easier discussion that. The 250,000. In the discussion on the floor. We asked for the direction of how they want to pay for that. Cause it's not in the budget. It's not a budget item. So how do you want to pay for it? So if you're gonna approve it, which is fine, where do you want us to take the money from? Do you want us to get it from reserve funds? Do you want us to get it from long-term investments? Do you want us to get it from, money left over this year, which has been the case. Each time, I believe, we've had enough money that's been the case, that it didn't involve a transaction. Coming or going, it was just paid for out of excess funds, which is fine, but at least it's a conversation and it's not. Doing this to your budget, you know, so next year, if they don't request any, your budget's down $250,000. That doesn't make sense. You know, your regular appropriations are always gonna be the same. Right, I mean, occasionally we get a new one that'll come to us, but they're hundreds of dollars.
Right,
A piece normally,
you're not going up
a
by.
$250,000.
So. Okay.
And that's been our history, I believe, right, Dave? Our history has been that our appropriations have been in the budget. Our regular appropriations,
I'd have to look to be sure. I
yeah,
mean, we've certainly had a line for them.
right. And we've made an individual decision each time that I've ever sat here for all the different years that in the case of the CFD. CTF, we
XYZ.
we didn't do that for that reason. Yeah, so I would say that's what we should keep doing, the same thing, take town foundation out of there.
Recommendation is gonna be 0.
You don't even make it name for it on there.
Don't even mention.
No.
Well, it has to turn up because we have in the previous fiscal years given them 250,000.
Okay, right. It was expended, so it was
It's not
shown.
like we have to show previous years, but.
Yeah.
If you set this year to 0, then you're right. I mean, it has to come from somewhere.
Right,
This is last year's and it's not on there in the miscellaneous. 110, 3,300.
Yeah, I recently pulled it out separately.
Well, yeah, this was from the website from last year's town report. It's not even in here.
Uh,
Oh, I wonder, if no, hang on. I lied.
find it.
But you don't have to look back too far to find that it isn't.
Okay. Anything else?
Hey, was there anything else that we needed clarification on?
In in the general fund, if you go to page 4,
Yep. I'm on page 4.
the budgeted transfer to our town investment fund,
Yep,
250,000. It's been that way for many years.
yep.
That just a reminder on that. I mean, that it would be good to update that number. Because that 250,000 came from calculations based before the paving started.
Okay. So you think the number should be more or less?
Oh, it almost certainly needs to be more. I just don't know what it needs to be.
Okay,
But need and capability to do it are two different things, right? So, and I don't mean to create any kind of protracted discussion on it, just a reminder that, and I know you're looking for an actuary or an actuary capability that would address that. So
yep,
that's where it is in the budget.
okay.
So the paving was the $1 million, well, no, what was paving?
Was about 700,000 for this year.
Mhm.
Yeah, when I say when the paving started, it's, years ago when we started
Right, it was-
the
yeah,
paving program.
yeah,
Mhm. So I was gonna say, this year, it'll be potentially a garage at 1 point, whatever million.
yeah. Okay,
And that's the general fund, but there are some highway fund.
see, there's some highway fund here, so the overtime, we don't need to worry about that though, right?
It's just information. That's,
Yeah,
you worry about it because there's a lot of overtime and that's what I've programmed in. It has worked
Yep.
out in the past. It is
And-
included.
we did a lot of gravel grinding this year, so we were way over on what we budgeted for that.
And eventually you work your way down to what this year and last year were the paving line and the truck line.
Yep,
So you say that's not really a question for this conversation for this, though. You say the grinding, you were way over. Cause they were, instead of buying it, now we're using our own.
we hired somebody to grind some gravel, I think,
Oh,
up at the Hancock Hill
Yep.
pit this year, and it was, we went over, we were 1,014.6% of the budget, I guess. Because we only budgeted 3,000 and we ended up spending 30,000 on it, but now we've got a bunch of it.
Gravel.
Well, so that's how we got our sand this year though.
Yeah, correct,
So that sand line item is gone.
correct.
So that one line item looks like that, but you didn't have to go buy it
Buy
and
sand.
derby it and truck it
Truck it back.
and
spend
fuel
all
and
that
man
money.
time. So we actually saved money.
Mhm.
It's just now we gotta figure out,
Right,
how to show that,
yeah.
not how to show it, but how we wanna go forward.
That's why I wanted you guys to say, because I assume you'll get asked that question at
Yeah.
town meeting day. So
Yeah.
that way you can just.
Right. Okay, so we've given you a little bit of feedback tonight, so you guys are gonna nick the rough edges off from that.
Yep. Hold on, I got some.
Okay, there's more rough edges coming.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Well, this has to do with the budget, so this is gonna be, because you're gonna be approving the warning at the next meeting. And I just wanna make sure that we've got if I'm not missing any articles here. So we're gonna have our general fund article, general fund budget article.
Yep.
Highway fund article. Transfer to investment article. Garage addition, that's gonna be a.
Okay, hold on.
Article.
So transfer to, say that third one
The
again,
transfer to the long-term investments,
and that was the 250?
that's what it's been in the past, right?
Well, the 250 is in the budget already.
Okay,
A separate article would be for any other money that you choose to transfer or want to transfer.
Right, that's
Okay.
different.
okay.
That's why I asked it.
So what do you wanna call that then? mean, it's still a transfer, right?
Well, I think more important than what we call it is what the number is.
Right.
And
We don't,
where it gets derived from.
we don't know that.
We don't know that.
But I don't really care about the number, I just want, there's gonna be an article that says something like that, I just wanna make sure that we can figure out the number between now.
Yeah,
and
okay.
the next meeting,
All
so
right.
there's gonna be an article
Yep.
that does that.
Yep.
Okay, the garage addition, how do we proceed?
You're gonna have to wordsmith that and it might take you a draft or two.
Okay, Coventry Town Foundation, that's an article, right?
Yeah.
The domestic animal ordinance, that's an article, right? How, and that's, what is that? What is the, we're asking.
Whether we should or not.
Whether you want this,
We've got a draft.
whether the voters of the town of Coventry want the select board to. I guess how to proceed with,
To impose,
okay,
to whatever.
to start the process on a domestic animal.
Yeah.
The gravel pit parcel,
Non-binding.
okay,
Again, that's an issue that's plagued us, and I think we sort of got to a spot where we said. This is a bad situation. Right?
mhm,
The town engaged in what everybody who's looked at it now.
a lot of people look at it now.
We've had our attorney look at it, we've had. The LCT,
Half the people that work at VLCT have looked at it.
yeah, and so everybody's going crazy. And so I guess where we are at as a select board, right, is that we have this issue. That's a legal issue. That. We wish wasn't here. So we've not been able to remedy that. For the future of the town, but in order to remedy that, because we don't have a willing partner. It might be rough. And so before I think before our select board chooses to go down the road of trying to correct the wrong. We would want to have an open discussion with the town and let them, just like these other things we've been talking about, give us some direction on that.
Okay.
Because it's gonna ruffle feathers and it's gonna be rough and tumble. Right?
It's gonna be, what do you want us to do, or what do you
You're
want us?
just gonna have to explain it the best you can that day.
Yeah, so I think that's why I've used the word, I don't know if it's an appropriate term, but it's my thought, it's sort of a, raise your hands, give us a non-binding vote here of, we just talked about it for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or half hour, however long they wanna talk about it.
Excuse me. It's sort of a bit of an emergency. Might you have any toilet paper up here?
Not up
Or
here.
know where we can?
I don't know if we've got any.
Here's
You
some.
got a key?
What?
You got a key?
Is it in the back room
Say,
or?
we've got you in this building.
My hero.
Alright.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Really quiet and scary. Is that?
We didn't know what the emergency was gonna be.
Know about? I do live here.
You'll be on YouTube making your toilet paper request now.
Yeah, come over and do it in front of the camera.
Want me to?
Yes.
Hey, don't dare me, I taught video and audio production. 30 years. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No
Go
problem.
No problem. Give Scott a break to think some more.
What's that?
Give Scott a break to think some more. So while we're paused, are you on a new committee with the state of Vermont and the mayor of Newport?
I don't know if I'm on it yet. I applied for it.
What is it?
Some aviation thing. They like me because I live next to the airport.
It's up in the air.
What's that?
It's up in the air.
Yeah, I thought of that the other day.
Yeah. What do you remember what she called it?
No. actually emailed her and asked her, and all I got back was, oh, I sent Matt the link, and it's not what I asked you.
Where'd you get?
Want some?
Was there some in my office?
No. Where'd you get? What decision did we make?
Paused it.
Paused? Oh, jeez. What were we
Right, so the
talking-
gravel, okay, so the gravel pit parcel, that's an article.
Yeah.
Okay. And then-
Non-binding.
Non-binding, and then the paving is an article.
Yep,
2025 paving,
you've got that number.
I've got that number. And the ton truck is gone now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, is there anything else you can think of that I'm missing? It's okay if you can't come to me, you got a couple.
It's nothing that, you're not missing anything, I don't think that we've had in these meetings.
Right,
Over the last 3-4 months that we've talked about getting there.
yep.
Yeah,
You got a few days, but if you want to think about it, if something pops up, do you think?
Cause if you're going to press in 2 weeks, we're not having a meeting in 2 weeks. Well, it's a holiday anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I can't send it in without a signed warning, you have to sign a warning at that meeting. so,
Sure.
But for all intents and
yeah,
purposes.
that's everything we've talked about and.
Okay. Okay, that's good, and then, so I guess that's good for town report, we'll go on one thing under other business. And that is, we got one person interested in being the emergency management coordinator. They would like to know what you're offering for the stipend.
Oh,
What have we offered in the past? There's gotta be a history to it.
I don't think
You ever
so.
had one?
We had one, but it used to be me, but I don't think I got any money for it. We kind of went outside,
Right.
I put it on the website.
Yeah.
what's not Matt, what's Phil's stipend? Do you know off the top of your head?
For a management director, I think it's
$750?
$750 a year for that. One of them's
1,000?
more, one of them's more.
That one's the biggest one.
That was the
and
biggest one, and the
E91.
E91 coordinators, the other one, so,
Who's the person?
Phil Marquette. Oh, you mean for emergency management coordinator? I can't remember her name. $500?
I'd have to look at the whole
Yeah,
town's, that
Yeah.
discussion that we've had, which is, pay,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah,
the
that's
importance
a
of the
good idea.
job and how does it fit in? to all those.
We'll get back to her then.
I
Mhm.
suspect it's in the range of between 500 to 1,500.
Right.
No, it's not that
No,
high.
not
It
that
would
high.
be
I'd think
500 to
5 to-
1,000.
I was thinking
Yeah,
like,
so
I was thinking 5 to 750.
I mean, that'd be the range in there.
that's about what?
Yeah, but again, these things it's not gonna pay for much time that
They're
this
not.
job takes, so it's like,
No, I know.
don't do it for the money.
Yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
all right,
It'd be a bad idea.
approval of minutes?
You have Phil on twice, I don't know if it makes a difference. He's only one person, but I think the rest of it all look good.
I've gotta go back to budget for a minute.
Okay,
You threw me for a little bit of a loop there on one thing.
which one?
Well. So I gotta take this home and study on this.
Okay.
I gotta blow it up first.
So Dave's still with us?
Yep, well. Yep. Still here.
Hey, Dave.
Hanging out.
So. I know we've had this discussion, we've kind of gone around on this a few times. So the operational budget is, what we're talking about here.
Right.
It's sort of like that's a little bit of the confusion and why the point was brought up around the potential expenditure of Coventry Town Foundation.
Right.
That's not an operational budget. It's like buying the truck, buying a building.
Mm-hmm.
Those are expenses, yes, for the town, but it's not in your annual operating budget. It's a standalone
Yes.
item
Yeah, those things are. Yep.
over there.
Yep.
And so when I'm looking at these numbers, like on page 5, and you look at, so this is the highway.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So budget for fiscal year 2024 was total 400,000.
Okay.
Right? See what's happening to those numbers?
Where are you looking?
What page are you on?
Page 5,
Oh, okay, yep, all right, yep. And then what,
and then it goes to 2.4 million. So I gotta go home and read this whole document, and I gotta get that straight in my mind again, and then come in and potentially have a discussion around. It's one thing to use NEMRIC and have that as an accounting tool to keep track of our accounting. But it's quite another to create operating budgets, asking the town for the first line that you asked us about tonight, right? Which is, what's our general fund operating budget expenditure? What's our highway approval? That's not in the millions.
I'm confused.
I know. And so, so are these numbers.
So
Do you know what I'm saying, Dave?
Oh, that's absolutely a problem, and we've talked about it before in a different context, that you did not want to use the restricted or the reserve funds, or you call them special funds. You didn't want to use those to pay for paving and trucks and road repairs, Coventry Station, big capital improvement stuff. And so that is going to land somewhere, and it has to land in the highway fund.
So are you saying because it's a line item, it shouldn't be here?
I mean, you could create a separate fund in this accounting system that was using, I mean, it already exists, right? Your rejection of the reserve, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it special funds because that's the term you use. The accountants would shoot me, but it's the same basic problem. If you don't, you have to put it somewhere. It has to go somewhere and has to be funded somehow. If you choose to fund it with annual funds, which is the direction that you gave us, and that's where it ended up after last year's town meeting, it's going to show up in an annual budget. And it skews tremendously, as you noticed, it skews tremendously your operational expenses. So yes, you could take them, you could show it differently, right? But ultimately, it's still going to be the bottom line. You've got a certain amount of income, most of which comes from the landfill. And you've got to pick that and cut it up somehow and fund certain things. And that's what this budget does. So if I could just point out one more thing for you before, on page 4, sort of in the middle where it says total general fund. Revenues minus expenses. There's a line, it's not quite, it's a little bit below the middle. just before you get to the highway fund. It says total general fund. And you look across that, you see a number 718,195.
Mhm.
That is the amount of what we would call excess revenue that exists in this budget currently. Money that we expect to get mostly from the landfill that is not currently programmed against an expense. And why am I telling you that? So when you go back down to the highway fund and you see that there's nothing in the line for capital equipment, which is a truck or trucks, plural, if you buy more than one. There's nothing in the paving line. That 718,000 currently is what's available to be programmed against those lines in some way, whether you fund it here out of the operational budget or you do it through some other funds.
Yeah, so that's what I'm picking up on again, and, I would. To uncomplicate that, so for me, I would look at your budget, what does it cost? What are your general obligations? What are your general expenses that are anticipated to run the town annually, year to year? Not the one item, not the capital expense stuff, the general operational component of it. Because of the nature in which we pay for things, without loans and bonding. So your electricity and your fuel and all of your employee costs and all of those things are that general fund issue. And the same thing on the highway, how much do you want to put for salt and gravel and tires and all that stuff? But when we start asking the town to help us think about what we're spending our money on, which is where we've made a huge stride away from the special funds, special restricted funds, and we're putting those line items in front of them, and we put some there again today, right? Paving is another one. We're not just going to take that out of that restricted fund. We're going to ask them if they want to expend that money, that $700,000. That, to me, should not be right in the regular operating fund, because it's what you're seeing. This is what happens. It all goes crazy. It's going up and down, and you never know what's actually costing to run the place. You don't have to pave, right? We wouldn't have to spend $1 next year. The town's gonna be fine. But we're choosing to, for all the reasons that we choose to. But that's not a general fund operating budget. So if that's what we're starting to build, then I think it's right now, or certainly within the next year, we have to have that discussion right on the table and figure out how we do our accounting. David already mentioned that there's potentially a way to do that in NEMRIC, so that it's not being shown in your general fund dollars.
I caution, that's not what I said.
Okay,
You could do it here on a spreadsheet. So this is a spreadsheet you're looking at.
right.
That's, some of the numbers come from NEMRIC. But it's definitely not, it's not an accounting system that you're looking at. I mean, you could present it on the spreadsheet differently, but in the world of accounting, it's going to live a certain way. Either you're funding it with annual dollars or you're not, or you're funding it with reserve funds, which are not annual dollars. So you've gone down the route of funding stuff with annual dollars. Okay, that's your choice.
This is a confusing way to do it.
It's going to be tied to what your annual dollars actually are when you fund with annual dollars. So if you look at the budget net right now for roads, and right at the bottom line, and I've got those two questions about, are those two reserve fund items? They're at zero right now. So when you look at that bottom line for road fund, 587,098, that's your operational amount for the roads, highway. That's it. It doesn't include any paving. It doesn't include any buying of trucks. 587,098. Under fiscal year 2026 budget, right at the bottom of the page 5.
Okay, all right. Yep,
I mean, that's what it is. And if you look back fiscal year 24, that number, the actual spent was 505,657. Look at the tiny print. It's fiscal year 25 where all that got mixed together. And yeah, it can be subtracted out. And you take out the big numbers and those same two line items, you take them out. Probably would take out Coventry Station Road repairs as well, because that's really it's a grant item. It's mostly reimbursed. So yeah, you can get back to, this is strictly operational and this is strictly something else.
okay, well, that just helped me a little bit in the sense that this, I was thinking Nemrick because I'm seeing all of the codes here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sort of a twofer you're giving us all, you're blending it. And it's basically a work model for us. It's not something that's getting printed in the town report.
No. This was just for tonight.
Well, a version of it would go into the town report, a simplified version.
Right,
Simplified version. Yeah, we don't, I mean, we take out all
but I'm throwing a flag at,
right.
because it's not operational.
Right.
Yeah, well, it has to appear somewhere, because again, it's just a question, are you going to fund those big items because you have a paving contract, you have a contract to buy a truck? Are you going to pay for that with annual money in an annual budget, or is it going to be paid for out of one of the reserve funds or two of the reserve funds? And if you recall, last meeting, we put a plan in front of you to consolidate some of those reserve funds and reform them a bit, but that they would still exist.
So I remember last town meeting that one of those lines got adjusted on the floor, and they asked us to expend so much money out of one of the reserve funds, and I mean, it all got sort of a
They
little bit,
did, yeah, I think that was for the paving, wasn't it?
Paving.
yeah.
And that's what happened.
That's actually pretty good. I like that. You get to give people that opportunity to look at all the money
Mhm.
and have knowledge of where it is and how to talk about that.
Mhm.
I guess I got some sleeping to do on that one. You guys following all that craziness?
We get
Kind of
crazy
sort of a
for
little
you.
bit, yeah. I gotta look at the last couple of town reports and see what's in there. What have we been putting in there for the operational layout, the Nemrick printout?
It looks similar to what you're looking at, except without percentages.
There's no percentage column.
Right,
Yeah.
but is that something you're creating, Dave, or are you literally downloading it from Nemrick?
The
June.
base information comes out of Nemrick, then it has to be
Our meeting.
heavily massaged to put it into a format that we could print and put in front of people. If you want, I can send you all what comes out of Nemrick. I think you'll recognize it from what you're looking at here. I mean, it's not
Right.
wildly different, but Um,
Okay, so let's not beat that to death tonight, but, so, I mean. So the numbers that we're gonna be discussing are the numbers that you just laid out for us anyway, Matt. You're gonna have.
Yep.
That's why it's actually gonna get confusing for people, because if they see things that don't add up to those numbers.
Right, but everything can be explained. You know what I mean? I mean, it's,
I sure would like to be able to though,
you're gonna have to be.
not just say, you know,
You,
Dave,
when it's somebody's.
you know, we should all sort of have a very easy.
Yeah,
Way to see and understand it and be able to, you know, talk about what impact of decisions that we've made are.
mhm.
And right now that's a little bit gray. I think. But we're not looking at a final version, so. Alright, sorry.
Okay, back to the minutes.
Gary always tells us if they're good.
Yep,
I think they're good.
I think they're good then.
We like them.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the select board meeting minutes for the town of Coventry, Monday, December 16th, 2024, as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, you got some more, and don't forget, our next meeting is on a Wednesday. January
22nd.
Wednesday?
Wednesday, January 22nd, 5 p.m.
Not to be confused with this Wednesday, as I was.
Not to be confused with January 22nd.
Have you met the William Smith that does the yearly monitoring? The,
Have I been in before?
is he the retired deputy sheriff and like 90 years old?
He's old, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if he's-
I used to work with him then.
You
It's
know
the
who-
same, I know, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, he was still doing all that stuff.
Matt, this moderator for you, is that down
That's
meeting?
for, no, that's for, you guys, there's another one which you have to sign to, and Izzy and Chris, can you sign them too?
But
Chris.
what is yours for?
That's to be the moderator of the school meeting, I guess. Or to be on the ballot, to be the
Oh, sorry.
moderator of the school or something, I don't know. But Deb would like all you guys to sign those, plus any other Coventry residents in the room, so that'd be you two.
So you should actually write that, because it doesn't say school on the one.
I haven't. Probably.
So you wanna do that again?
What?
You want,
I don't
Raise
think,
your
I don't
hand.
think I can ever attend a meeting that I'm not the moderator of.
so you want me to sign this?
Yeah, you could sign it, because if I'm not the moderator, then I wouldn't go.
Well, that just get them on, the people to vote for them.
This is just for Deb to be on the ballot for school treasurer, for me to be on the ballot, school moderator. You can sign those.
But if you're on the ballot, how is that gonna work? That's on town meeting then.
The
Not just for
school's different.
No, for you.
For town meeting day,
Yeah.
I get elected from the floor here.
Oh, I thought this was to get you on the ballot.
It is for the school, it's
Oh.
school moderator, nothing to do with town,
Gotcha.
to do with for the school meeting.
Oh, apparently there's people downstairs in Coventry that could sign those.
Whoop.
So we both did.
Yeah, they probably could, Carrie, but I don't know if
I can.
I'm. Kid as well.
I don't know how many just signatures does she need?
I don't know. She just told me to
For
bring it up. She told me to bring
school?
these up and have you guys sign them and
No, she's not on tonight.
anybody else.
Scott wants us on that one, or just missed it? Or
There's
does
two
not?
different ones here.
Yeah,
Or you wanna? School treasurer. Do you want me to write school on here? Is that legal? Can I write on it?
I don't
Don't
know.
know.
There's, I don't.
No, at the local election to be held on the 4th of March. Oh, that is on town meeting day. Mhm. So if anybody else is interested in signing,
I can't, it's not ethical, I can't. Being a journalist, I can't.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
See, you can.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not proper, it's not ethical.
Mm-hmm, yep. Don't be afraid.
Sign them both?
Please.
Make a motion to accept the warrants as presented.
Second,
All in favor?
I.
Good. Get adjourned unless there's anything else. Scott, you all set?
yes.
Sure.
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
I, done. No more.
6:27 p.m.